Meet the Shadow Trooper, a badass stealth-based power armor build that honestly may well be as crazy as it sounds. This is not a build for the faint of heart, but boy is it kind of insane. If that's got you sold, then keep on watching, but if you're just looking to skip ahead to a certain section, then take a look in the description for all the relevant timestamps. The Shadow Trooper was suited to a life of crime. She'd had no real authority figure growing up. Having to raise her brother after the death of their parents had meant she wasn't so used to following orders, and that seemed to be all that a life within the law consisted of. Why work a minimum wage job when all the money you need is out there for you to take? All you need to do is reach out and grab it. Sure, they may have to occasionally kill people, but everything comes with a price, and it was a small one to pay for freedom. Greed certainly held some sway over her though, and when a man offered both her and her brother the opportunity to team up for even greater rewards, she was never going to say no. The trio worked wonders, and she learned to trust the man almost as much as her brother, making him feel like a part of their family. With success came the opportunity for jobs with the big-time gangs, and it didn't take long for a boss to ask them to help. They would assist in a large-scale shipment operation, the two men heading into the army to get goods from the front lines back onto the mainland, where she would be waiting to get them safely in the possession of the crime boss. Things ran surprisingly smoothly. It was easy money for relatively safe work, compared to some of the stuff they had done in the past. Despite this, it still felt somewhat like a real job, and the Shadow Trooper was eager to move on to something else. She started planning out when would be the best time to move away from the job, but her plans were thrown to the side when the headquarters of the gang literally exploded one night. She could only assume some fight had gone horribly wrong, and knew she needed to warn the other two of what had taken place. She was able to reach them over the phone and get a message to them, telling them to make their way back as soon and as safely as they could. After this though, she knew she would have to go into hiding. If someone was killing gang members, then she didn't want to be next on the list. The Shadow Trooper decided to go dark, cutting all contact to the outside world, and hiding away for years, away from all civilization. Once she was certain she would be safe, she decided to reintegrate herself into civilian life, whilst she tried to find a way to contact her brother. It had been so long since she had heard from him, that she wasn't even sure he had made it back to America alive. She made sure to keep up the appearance of a normal suburban housewife, while she searched, not wanting to have any suspicious eyes lingering on her. Her efforts were all in vain though, as she was unable to find the location of her brother before the bombs started falling, and she was rushed to the vault. The Shadow Trooper has Strength 4, Perception 5, and Endurance of 4, Charisma 1, Intelligence 7, Agility 7, and Luck at 1. A Strength of 4 will help somewhat with carry capacity, but more importantly, gives us access to some incredibly helpful perks. Perception is sat at 5, as we will be going after several perception-based perks. Truth be told, I don't find Perception to be all that helpful in game, but if you're an avid VATS user, then it certainly has some value. Endurance is relatively low for a survival mode build, being sat at 4. This means you aren't the toughest of characters, and don't want to be placing yourself in the middle of a firefight. Charisma is one of two dump stats of the build. You don't talk to people, you kill them. Intelligence and Agility are both sat at 7. This helps represent the Shadow Trooper's brains and ability to remain hidden. These are by far the two most important special stats of the build. Finally, we have another dump stat, this time Luck. Don't expect things to go your way. Instead, make sure to use skill to get through whatever situations you find yourself in. The essential perks for this build are Armourer, Science, Gun Nut, Rifleman, Sneak, and Ninja. The first half of these cover the critical crafting components of the character. You'll want to be taking these before you get started on any serious gear modding. Rifleman, as always, is a pretty simple perk. Do more damage, enemies die easier. You don't get more straightforward than that. Sneak and Ninja are a deadly combination. The more ranks of Sneak you have, the harder you are to detect, and when you hit an enemy whilst undetected, Ninja will give you a nice damage multiplier, granting you the potential to get plenty of one-hit kills. The additional perks of the build are Mr. Sandman, Blacksmith, Robotics Expert, Hacker, Locksmith, Demolition Expert, and Night Person. Mr. Sandman ties into the previous 2 perks we looked at, further increasing your sneak attack damage with silenced weapons, but also letting you instantly kill sleeping enemies as an added bonus. Blacksmith and Robotics Expert are the additional crafting skills of the build, mostly focused on building yourself a deadly robot to follow you around. Hacker and Locksmith are great perks for stealth-based characters, helping you to avoid certain areas and thoroughly loot anywhere you travel to. Demolition Expert is great. Borderline overpowered, I've heard some say. If the situation goes south, you can rely on explosives to take down whatever you're facing. Just make sure you don't get caught in the blast radius. Finally, we come to Night Person. This is a perk I always want to include in more builds, but often struggle to justify doing so. During the night, you will be granted a boost to Perception and Intelligence, as well as Night Vision. These are really cool bonuses to have and make you that bit better in the night hours, but they likely won't be game changers, so don't worry about rushing to get the ranks of this perk. The main faction for this build will be the Operators from the Nuka World Raiders. Keeping this faction in your good books will ultimately make you even stronger than you were before. Out of the other 2 Raider factions, I feel the Disciples suit the character more, however the bonuses from the pack could well be seen as the one you would want more. As there's a bit of a split here, I say not to worry too much about helping out the other 2 sides, and simply see how things turn out with them. As a companion for this character, you will want to make an Assaultron with stealth blades on both arms. These are silent melee weapons, meaning that, in theory, you have a stealth-based robot. In practice though, this doesn't always work. Even with the stealth field, your robot will still get you discovered if it decides to cling to you, so I advise sending off your companion to scout ahead, baiting out any enemies while still being able to hold its own when the fighting starts. The main weapons for this build will be a suppressed assault rifle and suppressed combat rifle. These weapons allow you to pick off enemies from a safe distance without putting yourself in harm's way. The assault rifle will no doubt be the more powerful of the 2, however it does weigh quite a bit, and ammo is more scarce than with the combat rifle, so I'd recommend carrying one with you and storing the other in your robot, so you can switch when necessary. Additionally, you will want to carry a stealth blade combat knife for any close range kills. Thanks to Ninja, this weapon will be a one-hit kill if you manage to land a sneak attack with it. The apparel I wore when playing this build was the Marine Tactical Helmet and Wetsuit. This, however, obviously isn't the focus of the character, as this is a power armor build. For your power armor, you will want a full suit of T51 power armor. This suit will want to be painted with a dark colour to hide you in the shadows, and I was lucky enough to get Onyx paint from the Creation Club for free, so I went with this. You can of course though go with any other suitable paint job, including prism shielding. On the torso you will want to have the Stealth Boy mod, turning you invisible whenever you crouch down and stay still. This is a very fun way to play a power armor character, as there's something just comical about sneaking around enemies while encased in a giant suit of metal. When you are cloaked, your action points will slowly drain though, so I also went with kinetic servos on the legs. These increase AP refresh speed whilst moving, allowing you to just walk a short distance in order to fully recharge your stealth field. As the final mod of the suit, I went with a targeting HUD on the helm. This will highlight everyone to you, making it easier to identify enemies during the middle of the night, and help ensure you always get the drop on anyone you come across. This character is a stealth-based power armor build. Not one for the faint of heart. You will constantly be balancing the advantages and disadvantages that come from this sort of a character, but when it does work, it's great fun to play. In order to succeed with this build, you'll need to focus on getting the drop on enemies while still at range. Send your robot ahead to scout for you, and once you spot an individual that needs to be eliminated, take a precise shot to take them down. If things go smoothly, you can take down outposts of enemies with ease, letting your companion take any fire and slowly advancing whenever it's safe to do so. Pay attention to line of sight when playing, as you only want to be moving when you can't be spotted. You can remain perfectly still with someone staring at you, but move more than an inch and your cover will be blown. If things do go wrong, your power armor and deadly robot will give you a fighting chance. If it's only one or two enemies who have spotted you, then focus on killing them as quickly as possible to regain stealth. If it's more than you can handle, then run away and reapproach from a different angle. The protection your power armor provides means you can take a few hits without too much worry, but you still can't handle a sustained firefight. This is by no means an easy build to master, but it provides something different for all of you still playing, and hopefully will prove entertaining to all of you. Thank you all very much for watching this highly unorthodox character build. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to follow me on any of my social media to see what I'm up to, then links to all of them are in the description.